Oh, we've only spent the last 10 minutes wondering what we're going to talk about. So, oh God.
No. I feel like we were enlightened so much last week that now it's really going to be hard to top that. So you offered me the pedestal to try to lift the show even higher, and
Put it on a higher plane.
I'm not the one that you should look towards.
You're more on the flat plane?
Yeah, I'm more down in the valley.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
Well.
But you made a good point. You talked to people, and not a lot of people knew that story.
That's
right?
true. I, of all the buddies and people I spoke to last week or over the past week, only one person knew that the story about Athens, Tennessee, and the insurrection caused by the miscounting of votes.
Yeah.
For
No one I talked to knew that story. In fact, most of the people had my same reaction. They thought I was making it up. I said, I promise.
You looked into it.
I did, because I did. I shouldn't say I didn't trust you. I did trust you. But
Well,
sometimes you'll say something that's you're being serious, but you're not at the same time.
it's a presentation.
Yeah.
Well, that's I see. I just knew it was real, and I was wondering if you were going to come back with something and say, Kip, that really was accurate.
Yeah, in fact, it was so accurate that I almost feel like you probably read about it right before you got here. Instead of saying, I read this book 30 years ago.
No, I did. I read this story.
This is all from memory. But you knew that he had 4 sticks of dynamite.
5.
Oh, 5.
5.
Okay, see, I don't even remember. I don't
You know, when you start talking about throwing dynamite, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah, that was...
I'm going to remember that because
I don't know.
in case I ever throw dynamite, I want to know how many sticks I should use.
Oh, yeah.
But I really did read that story 30. It was probably more than 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And for some reason it stuck. It stuck.
It was pretty. I mean, it's an intense story. That doesn't happen every day.
No.
Or every
and
40 or every year. I mean,
there are a lot of Democrats out there that don't want anybody to know about that story.
that's crazy. Well, I bet. Well,
The
I would
Democrats
assume
in
they
Pennsylvania.
don't. I would assume they don't want that story out.
That went against the Democrat machine.
Yeah.
The Tennessee machine. I don't know what the Tennessee machine's like now. I don't know if they have a machine.
Yeah. I always wondered, what is a blue dog Democrat? What does that mean? Do you know what that means?
I've heard the
making that
term.
word?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know about a blue dog.
Democrat. I don't either.
Is it someone that George Rodriguez painted?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's just a Louisiana politician then, I guess. George Rodriguez painted him.
So what?
That's
does
where I
that
get a blue
have to
dog.
do? I mean, that's blue dog Democrat.
That's the blue dog.
Well,
I know
and so
about.
other things like the Democratic Party is now being taken over by people that lean a little more left. Which, all right.
You're so independent. You're just saying a little lean.
Explain this to me.
They've capsized. They've gone so far left. They've capsized.
Yeah, do some explaining to me, because if someone's liberal, that would be left.
Yeah.
If someone's conservative, that's right.
Yeah.
So it seems like the liberal idea is big government.
Yeah.
Which actually takes liberties away
That's right.
from someone with an independent mind who seems to believe and want small government. I don't want people telling me what to do, other than, we need to have, everybody's got to have rules to life, and you got to have laws. And I don't believe in a lawless society one bit, but overreaching government I like the slippery slope. I like when you can use that analogy.
Minimal government is the best.
Yeah.
Is if you believe in the inalienable rights that were given to us by God, that we have the rights to do the things that we can do and want to do, as long as we don't harm other people.
Yeah.
And of course the Declaration of Independence set that into motion, and then our Constitution specifically outlines the realities of what the federal government is supposed to be able to do, which is supposed to be minimized as far as intrusion into our lives. And
I've had to explain that it's supposed to be things that the government can't do. It's more about
it's what the government can't do in as far as taking over. And what's sad as we continue to move further and further away from the founding of our nation in the new Constitution in the 1780s, that we march a little bit closer, it seems, every election period into another period of really close to fascism, if you want to say it. And fascism is where you have private enterprise, you have your business, and they want you to have your private business, but the government dictates everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there you move closer to socialism, and then the next step obviously would be communism.
Yeah.
The liberal part of the Democrat Party, they couch it in terms that it just sounds so beautiful to just take care of people, and AOC and her little band of misfits are and
I can't say that she's attractive.
No, she's not,
because that would be catcalling, and I'm not a cat caller. I don't call cats. Anyway, sorry, I had to put that in there because in the past I may have joked around about how she was attractive and charismatic, and that might be why she's very popular on TV and media, but also could be what is in her brain is just as good, and that's why she's popular.
No, it's scrambled. It is scrambled, and she is so.
I had to really get to know you before I knew you were okay.
Yeah, but you still don't know.
Yeah.
She's even further left than Bernie, and Bernie Sanders is he is a communist.
So so I grew up listening to bands like Rage Against the Machine. You ever heard that band?
It's not on my dial.
You don't have it on your.
It's not on my dial. Is that from the Baroque period of music? Because I love Baroque music.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well then we're even.
Okay. Anyway, well, it seems like a lot of. What is Baroque?
Baroque.
No, I'm something else. I'm going to have to look up.
It's a musical genre of there's like Handel and Bach and classical music and
I've never heard it called Baroque.
Baroque, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, well, it's because it was Baroque. No,
isn't there some kind of joke about a mandolin? Anyway, so. But I grew up at a time where that was, and so I was always.
Who was this band you're talking
It's called Rage Against the Machine.
Can you hum a bar or two of it?
Oh,
okay.
I can't. So basically, it was the 90s, and I'm probably wrong, but the 90s, and heavy rock was being mixed with rap. So you had these heavy rock guitar riffs that were real groovy, and the drums. It was a 3-piece band.
I think you had to be there.
You did.
I was never there.
Because somebody generations before or after would probably listen to it and like, that sucks. But whenever you're at that age, and that was the age where I was like, I liked it. I liked the heavy grooves. I liked the contrast, but it was because I'd never heard anything like it before. So it was one of those things, those new things that came along. Anyway, the singer, the lyrics were always heavily, the name.
On drugs?
I don't think so. But, I don't know. But the name Rage Against the Machine should tell you a lot about the content of their music. It was about one of those, it was Marxist ideas.
AOC's brother was the lead singer?
No, it's really funny, and here's where I'm coming to. So the people that, like me, who are at an age where they probably get into office, I don't know how old she is, or I'm just painting in a really broad brush. People that have those ideals, when they suddenly get into power, now they are the machine. Are they still raging against the machine? And so raging against the machine it's the tear down of the machine.
It's a tear down of the machine that
which is big government. So I know there's ways that you can tear down a machine because you infiltrate the machine. You get inside of it.
We're talking about like defunding police.
Yeah.
That's the most ridiculous. They can defund police, but they maintain their own security so that they.
The hypocrisy is mind-numbing.
That's hypocrisy. The Greek Hippocrates, I think is Hippocrates, something like that, is the Greek root word for a hypocrite, for actor.
Actor.
Hippocrates, I don't know how to pronounce it, but that's was the Greek for actor, and the root word for hypocrite comes from that.
So they had hypocrites back then in ancient Greek.
Well, they were actors, yeah.
Which is funny because now you can just call somebody an actor. And
we may have invented something. I got to tell you this. You have turned me on to something and it all revolves around your T-shirt last week.
Social Distance World Champion. Shirtworksbr.com.
Which is not the company we're working on to try and get to be a sponsor of our program.
Oh,
I'm trying.
Well, I'm going to hit him up.
I'm speaking to that company daily about sponsoring us.
Oh.
But my speaking hasn't spoke to them yet. But it'll get there, I guess. But anyway, last week you had Sasquatch on your T-shirt. And it hit me after we left last week that Sasquatch socially distancing, and back. Remember when Muhammad Ali fought George Foreman with the rope-a-dope?
George Foreman, like the big guy,
the big guy,
the grill, like the George Foreman grill.
Yeah, like the George Foreman grill. You probably weren't alive at that.
I don't know.
Anyway, George.
I know you're talking about.
Anyway, Ali did the rope-a-dope. He just kind of out. He wore old George Foreman out, and by the 8th round, George Foreman couldn't walk. But anyway, so Muhammad Ali had his rope-a-dope. Joe Biden was Sasquatching.
Oh, he was
Sasquatching because he was, every once in a while you might catch a glimpse of him on video.
The old Yeti. And he was pulling the old Yeti.
He was pulling a Yeti. And that is, he invented a whole new political strategy, Sasquatching. Hiding.
Yeah.
And you surface for a second.
Every once in a while.
So hey, I think I saw Joe Biden. And he goes and he hides.
Walking across.
Sasquatching.
Walking across the river.
I see him again. and every once in a while you can say, I think I heard him.
Oh yeah.
When he might have answered a question. No, not answered a question. He would make a statement.
Well, no, it's even better because you get other people's account of
what they saw. So you see, I think Sasquatching is the next political movement in the country. Sasquatching. That's the Joe Biden. That's the term for I developed for the Joe Biden 2020 campaign. Sasquatching. I think it works, and I think the Democrat Party will adopt it.
If I'm doing something, if I'm not going to do anything on the weekend,
you Sasquatch?
What do you do? I'm just going to Sasquatch.
I'm Sasquatching. I'm Sasquatching. Every once in a while you pop up and someone sees you. But other than that, you're gone. And
this is I like it.
Oh, I think it could
I like
work.
it.
I
I'm
think
gonna
it could
see
work.
if I can get that same shirt with Joe Biden's face on it.
Joe Sasquatching. Sasquatch in 2020.
I think that's self-explanatory. You just put his face on Sasquatch. He kind of looked like Sasquatch. I need to go back and.
Well, you know, back, I don't know how long, it was in the 70s or 80s, he had to go through a massive hair plug. He lost all of his hair on the front, and he had to take it from the back, and they plugged his hair. That's the reason Rush Limbaugh calls him plugs.
Oh. Huh.
There was another, I forgot on Newsmax, there's a reporter on Newsmax that calls him Beijing Biden, which is...
So what's up? Okay, speaking of Newsmax.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Is Fox the big loser of the 2020 election?
What happened? Because I don't watch any of them.
Fox went over to the dark side. It really became evident when Chris Wallace did the 2020 presidential debate,
Yeah.
and was basically Joe Biden's hitman in the interviewing process. Chris Wallace did a terrible job in regards to the
So everybody's in. So is everybody against Trump, or is it? How many people voted?
Well, that's the other thing. You know, we had close to 160 million votes in the country.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me that there were more black votes for Biden in 2020 than there were for Obama in 2012.
I can't tell you that because I don't know that.
Well, the reality, do you really think that many African Americans in this nation, after listening to Joe Biden for 40 years talk about putting black people back into chains, being close buddies with the KKK.
Oh yeah, what's that guy? Byrd?
Robert Byrd.
I remember that.
And
I just thought that was funny that well, he was a former member.
What?
He wasn't still a card carrying member.
Okay,
Right.
all right, yeah, that's right.
You gotta give people
This year, in one of his Sasquatch moments, when he arose and he was out in the hinterlands of the forest, he said that low income poor kids can perform just as well as white kids. Now, poor income poor kids.
What if they're white, low income?
Well, that's what this.
Yeah.
Did the
That doesn't
press
make sense.
ask any questions about that? No.
You mean to say that I got on that faster than the press? Because we got problems. We got big problems.
I'm pretty impressed that you just went right to it.
Well, 'cause
you know
that
what I was
doesn't
talking.
make any
It
sense.
doesn't make any sense, and plus, it's just absolutely it's discriminatory in at its base.
At its base.
It's base, and you know what's interesting is we're 2 weeks after the election. We still don't have a president, although the press, the media, has been calling Joe Biden president-elect.
Some
He's
of them
not.
Some of them have.
Some-
Well,
most of them have.
I saw one called the Epic Times. You ever heard of that?
No.
I heard about it from it was an advertisement that they had. And it's always, you never can believe what you hear on advertising. But they say that they are completely center, non-biased. They just report the news. They don't have a 24/7 news cycle process. They have a website. So anyway, where was I going with that?
Yeah. What?
So I'm trying to find back to Fox. Like Fox has moved over, but they gave Biden equal time during the right before the election, right? Because weren't they showing? They were showing both.
They were probably more.
More Trump.
I get that's
Because I
hard to
know like
say.
the other networks weren't showing any of Trump.
The other networks didn't show any Trump at all.
They just kind of, and that's really obvious. So it's one. I wonder how. So, but they haven't. So anyway, the Epic Times, they haven't called the election because of all the other lawsuits that are going through. Because this is still,
Newsmax hasn't called the election.
this is still a process, right? That they have.
I
to
haven't
go
watched.
through.
I haven't watched Fox Channel since election night.
No?
No, I turned them off. After I realized how quickly they had turned into just a typical cable news channel
Yeah.
like CNN and MSDNC, that a Democrat news channel. The compared to the Communist News Network. The reality is, they started calling things for Biden so quick it was ridiculous. And for the life of me, I'll never understand how on election night, President Trump was ahead in all these particular states, and at 1:30 in the morning, all of these particular states stopped counting their votes at the same time. And then a number of hours later, they resurfaced, and now they're counting, and now they got Joe Biden way ahead on all these things.
You know, we couldn't stay out past 1:30 in the morning. Said only the devil's outside.
Well, you know, nothing good happens after midnight, and that occurred in the election process. And it's you never go outside after midnight because you could get hurt. And I bet your mama told you that too.
Yeah, that didn't help when I worked at a gas station. I worked a graveyard shift. Tell you what, that was an interesting job.
Did you ever get robbed?
Nope, I never did, but I knew where the panic button was. So
Well, you had the
I was a
gas pump. You
kid.
just
I was a kid. No, I was inside. It wasn't a full service.
oh, you stayed behind glass.
No, we didn't have any glass back then.
Oh,
No, it was
they had to come in and.
They had to come in and fill up their man. People drink a lot of coffee. That's one thing I remember from that.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about this week, I appreciate you bringing all that up. That was very timely.
That's nice.
I know they love it. Now here it is, Monday, what is it? The 16th, and the election rules say that the states have to have their certifications done by December. I forgot the date. December 8th this year. I forgot the date.
Right.
And so the election is still up in the air. Joe Biden thinks he's won. President Trump is saying there's too much cheating that's been going on, so he's not about to give
Well, the
up.
lawsuits aren't finished.
Lawsuits are not finished, and you know, if they create enough doubt in the process, which they could, it seems like they certainly can with Pennsylvania alone, with the way that they treated the poll watchers. They wouldn't even let the Republican poll watchers in the building. The Democrat poll watchers could be in the building, but not the Republican poll watchers. And then they taped up poster board and things on the windows so people couldn't look into the building.
I saw that. That was on the news. Like
They,
they had video. The guy was broadcasting from inside where they had done that.
yeah,
What was the purpose of
to keep the Republican poll watchers from looking in, which was really sad. So if they create enough doubt in states like Pennsylvania and maybe Michigan, Wisconsin, I don't know, even Georgia, because Georgia's count has been questioned again.
I like how you put the Georgia. Sorry.
Did I say Georgia?
Yeah, whatever. You sound like
Some-
Hillary Clinton.
Sometimes I'm no way tired.
That was horrible. That,
Oh,
that should not be spoken.
She
again.
was a joke.
That's what's really. I wonder if people are as dumb as other people think they are, because it seems like when I watch this kind of stuff, I'm thinking, surely people don't believe
They can see through it.
what. Yeah, they can see through this.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of people don't see through it, or they see through it and they say, "Well, I've got to."
You know what? I had this.
My grandfather voted Democrat. I'm going to vote Democrat.
This is a great thing. This isn't a great thing I was thinking. But anyway, I was talking to someone, and they were talking about how much they hated Trump.
Oh, okay.
They don't really follow politics at all, and they don't mind what has been going on for the last 4 years, as far as the, whether you say they're good things that he did, they haven't really been engaged, but they are engaged with him and his personality. So they don't like him. They don't like his personality. They feel like he's a bully, he's a narcissist, whatever. If that's true or not, that's their perception. And supposedly,
It's parts I like.
right? Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, because he gets things done.
Yeah. But I'm talking from somebody else's point of view. Those are put offs, and so they vote more on a popularity contest and more of
That's sad.
It is sad, but it's true. Sad but true. And so were there that many people that hated him that much just to get him out of there because they don't want to hear him all the time, not knowing that the policies that some people that have infiltrated on the left are a little more aggressive than they think, because they might think like, oh, they're Democrats. Your taxes might go up a little bit. It's not going to be that big a deal. 4 more years, get another chance to get somebody else in there. So they see it as it's not that big a deal. Although it's just up for discussion.
It will be a big deal if Georgia votes for 2 Democrat senators and the Senate comes into Democrat control.
But do you think that they would vote party lines on something like court packing?
Yes,
or something like.
I do. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think that
you don't think there'd be enough Democrats to be like, nah, this is not a good idea? Because even what's her name that just passed away at the Supreme Court, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, didn't she say that wasn't a good idea? And there's a lot of Democrats that probably believe that's not a good idea. But do you think they would be pressured into it?
I believe they'd be pressured into it. I think there's too many socialists out there that would want to make it happen, and because they see the court as the way to create the world that they want.
Right.
I mean, they.
So then I'm predicting a comeback of Rage Against the Machine.
The band or the people?
The band first.
Okay, all right. Ooh, okay.
Just to see if they're really raging against the machine.
I'm going to have to look them up. Last week you had to look up Athens, Tennessee.
I don't think you're
Today I'm going to look up Rage Against the Machine.
You're not going to like it. I'm telling you, I would do yourself a favor and not.
And don't look?
I mean, well, no.
Can you understand any of the words they're saying?
Sometimes, and they're not good words. I mean, they're not. You're not. If you don't like profanity and you don't like Marxism,
do they have a beat that it's a really good beat that you can dance to?
I mean,
the reason to listen to Rage Against the Machine the first time was what?
That would have probably been
because you were raging against the machine?
Young, exposure, and peer pressure. All of those 3 probably combined.
So
not peer pressure. It wasn't pressure. It wasn't like, you better listen to this. It was just like, hey, I got the CD. And there's the CD is like a picture of I think it's a Shaolin monk. Or it's some monk. And it was a demonstration where he set himself on fire in the intersection. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I think
that's called emulation. And I can't imagine that.
Oh, Lord. No.
I cannot imagine.
So that's the image. I saw that. I was like, so that's exposure. I was like, holy crap. What in the world is that? And then I put it in. I was like, oh, I like the drums. The bass line is pretty sweet. And the guitar was pretty good. And then you got this guy he's like rapping, screaming.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you what, next week, we're going to talk about Handel's water music. And we'll talk about some of the finer points.
No, because I mean that wasn't the only thing I was listening to. I also had Zamfir's Greatest Collection.
Well,
the pan flute.
You have a really unique.
I saw that it was like it was a commercial on TV.
And you bought the CD?
And I got my parents to order the.
You ordered Zamfir.
It wasn't even a CD. It was a tape. It was a
cassette tape. You can't even play those anymore.
I know.
I have a bazillion LP records. I have a bazillion LP albums.
That's come back around.
And but I'd have to buy another one that come back around. That's pretty good. At 33 1/3 speed.
That's right.
talk about coming back around. I'm thinking this may be the way it works out. There's enough doubt in the way this election counting has been going that there is no final tally in an election, in electoral votes, that Joe Biden or Trump gets over the 270 electoral votes. If that's the case, then the election would be thrown to the House of Representatives and the Senate. And it's based on if I remember correctly, I think it's based on one state, one vote. And if that's the case, the Republicans control, I believe, 35 of the states.
So if let's say the dust settles, this is going to be my. I'm looking at the future. Okay, here we go. If Biden, Harris, all the dust settles, they take over January
20th.
If that happens, I'm going to play. You might see your taxes go up. Things are going to be a little different. I'm not even getting into the Senate part of it. But you probably won't hear from the president. I don't think he's got Twitter. Biden
can't tweet because he's Sasquatching.
You'll find out that there's other things in life to try to pay attention to sometimes, and that might be a good thing. But hear me out. So anyway, that's the best case scenario.
What's your worst case?
So I'm just thinking this all happens, and you've got all of these major networks who are just thrown off by the fact that Trump won't concede. And then it goes through the courts, and some lawsuits stick, and then it's contested, and then there's enough evidence to overturn this. It's not even overturned because it hasn't been called yet, but all these networks that have been pumping this information out, that it has been called and it's over and Trump's the bad guy. If it goes through the legal system and it actually comes out that, okay, Trump is actually going to be in there for a second term, this is the setup for everybody on the left to actually try to do something to overthrow that president because they see it as illegitimate, and they have, call it boots on the ground, because the boards that were put up on all the stores for election night, that wasn't for Trump supporters.
No, it wasn't.
So if they end up with Trump being the winner, you best believe that there's going to be, I'm not going to say armed insurrection if Trump ends up winning, but I'm just saying that there's probably going to be a lot of people out there who are opportunistic, because I think the looting and all that stuff, that's like opportunistic people, but there's a lot of people that are just waiting for that to happen. Because if Biden takes over, then they got nothing to fight for. Back to Rage Against the Machine. They're not raging against that machine because that machine is going to give them what they want.
Everything you said is so true, and if that doesn't speak volumes, you ought to run for office. If that doesn't, what you just talked about is so true, and it speaks volumes to the reality of the left liberal leaning individuals versus the conservative right leaning individuals, and the in the between folks.
Yeah. I just don't see how everybody else doesn't see that.
I think they do. They just don't want to talk about it and recognize that these Antifa, Black Lives Matter groups are
we've got some
socialist groups.
We've got some people in our neighborhood that are heavy in the Black Lives Matter stuff, and but I don't know them well enough to know that they are heavily socialized. I don't know.
Well, I think what's happened in the Black Lives Matter movement is that it has the reason it was created had a purpose, but it has been hijacked by these Antifa type of individuals now, and have taken it to a program that was not intended to go, because everybody in the world agrees Black Lives Matter, but not to the extent that you destroy a nation over it.
Every life matters too,
and every life does matter.
And that doesn't take away from the fact that Black Lives Matter. I mean, that's what I just don't. But here's the deal: we're white, so we can't.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Doesn't matter.
But I do.
Doesn't matter what you think.
Last week, Whoopi Goldberg on The View, which I have what is their viewership? 3 people? Because the only reason I saw this, it showed up on the news, is Whoopi Goldberg sometime last week had her on The View, was pointing her finger like this and fussing at the Trumpettes and the Trumpers, saying that we should just suck it up. And I'm thinking, well, for 4 years, that whole group on The View has never sucked it up. All they've ever done for 4 years is talk about how bad Trump is and how bad the people who believe in Trump are. And so that's not right for her to go up there and particularly pointing her finger at everybody like we're the ones that are wrong.
See, and she was really good in Sister Act.
The only thing that I thought that she's ever been good in was in Ghost. And that was the part.
She was Ghost?
Where she was in the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore. And there was a line in there that I thought was very appropriate because it pretty much describes the same thing. Is she's in the bank withdrawing the money, and she does something, and she says, "I get a little gas from time to time." How appropriate for Whoopi Goldberg to say, "I get a little gas from time to time." And that's what she was doing last week. She was
getting gas.
She had gas. she prognosticated the.
She's just, well, I don't know. I don't watch The View.
Well, I don't either. I just they happened to show that on the news, and I said, who would watch that in the first place? And who is she to tell us to suck it up? Well, she's never sucked it up for the past 4 years.
You know what? If I was on a conservative news network, I would put that on there to make conservatives even more angry.
Well, I would too. I'd say, look at this, folks. Look at this, folks. Yeah. And it's ridiculous.
See, this brings me to my point. The Amish, I don't believe that they're having the same struggles as everybody else in the country, like with the virus and politics and everything.
Well, they don't have electricity.
And TVs. I know.
But there's a difference. There's a difference that you and I have with the Amish. We like air conditioning.
Yeah.
And here in Louisiana,
we got it.
In Louisiana, you have to have air conditioning.
The Amish didn't set up camp in Louisiana because they were like, it's too hot.
It's too hot. They went back home.
Yeah, they live in nice places with 4 seasons.
With 4 seasons, maybe just 2.
I would take 4 seasons.
We just have 1.
Yeah,
and
it's cold right now.
That's the reason I'm wearing my jacket. It's I think it's like 70 degrees.
That's really cold.
It's cold. It's freezing down here. That was my gripe of the day. Was that
you were griping back at the gripe.
I was griping back at the griper.
That doesn't make it any better.
But
you got to take the high road.
She's a griper, and am I a gripey? I don't know. I'll have to ponder that.
The thing is, like, I heard this song, and the lyrics were, I'll meet you up here on the road. Anyway, it's all about taking the high road. Don't get down in the ditch with people.
That's another song?
It's dirty. I don't know, I'm making it up right now.
Okay.
No, the High Road song, that's a guy. He's all right, anyway. That's a good one. I'll put a link to that one. Maybe everybody needs some High Road.
You need to put a link to your Sasquatch t-shirt so people can see what we're talking about in Sasquatch.
I'm gonna send.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, and if you go and order, put in code. I'm gonna tell. I don't have a code.
We don't have a code.
You have to pay full price. Until we get a sponsor, you got to pay full price for everything.
We're working on a sponsor. We're looking on viewers. Viewers doing great. Either we're doing so well that y'all don't want to comment, or we're doing so bad you refuse to comment. So open it up.
Yeah.
Share with everybody.
Yeah. If you came here by accident, just remember there are no accidents. No. You're supposed to be here.
There's some type of syndrome that's called. I forgot what that is. We'll have to look that up too. But But that's anyway. My theory is throw the election into doubt, so that by December 8th, whatever the date is that things are supposed to be certified, there is no clear winner, and then it gets thrown into the House and the Senate.
Man, I'm going back to when the dust settles. Will the dust settle?
Well, if it goes, I would obviously. I think that there are folks on the left that would say, it's war, and there are folks on the right that would say, well, thank goodness, truth won over everything. And I think it's interesting that even election night, when all this was going south for Trump, there were no riots to burn down cities because the Trump election wasn't going the way we wanted.
Which should tell you something.
Duh.
I know. I just don't.
It's
People aren't giving me a lot of hope these days.
Well, I'm afraid it's the human condition. The human condition is not. It doesn't lend itself to.
My mom used to say, "I'm very disappointed."
Well, that's a good way of putting it.
Disappointed people.
That's a very good way of putting it.
Because there is a lot more to life than politics, and
Oh.
people that politicize everything are not really fun to be around.
That's
You know what I mean?
well. I have found that if you try to speak with someone that's a liberal, there's no way that you could have a conversation with them where it'll end up decent, because they will think you are just a slime bucket. And for me, I say, you can believe what you want, but I don't think any worse of you because you think of this or you think this way. And
I don't think they think you're a slime bucket.
I think so. There are. I think there are a bunch out there that think that.
That think you're no.
Not me. I'm talking about right. The
But
Trump.
it's easy.
The Trump folks.
I learned something one day, and it was just about how it's really easy if somebody cuts you off in traffic.
Yeah.
It's really easy for you to maybe get mad and holler something at that, but because you're not looking at that person eye to eye, you would never say the things that you say to their car. If you don't know, they might have accidentally cut you off. They might not have been paying attention. So accidents happen. So that's been a really funny thing with the kids when driving around. So stuff will happen, and I'll just be like, "Oh well, they might have just, maybe they missed something." And so then I get over in front of them, and I was being real kind of playful with talking to this car that I had a conversation with. 12-year-olds in the back, and so I pull off to the side to turn into the neighborhood, and I hear just rah, 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 and I see a hand come out with some gestures. I was like, oh, he was kind of upset. He was really upset.
Wow.
So, but I don't know that he would have, pulled over and told me all that to my face, but maybe it would.
I'm actually remembering this. That was me, and I remember that, and I was hoping you had forgotten.
Yeah.
No, it was not me.
Different.
I was. Oh,
He looks a lot different.
yeah. I'm like that too. If I don't get enraged, I move on. It's nothing worth getting that wrapped up on.
Yeah, it's not good to rage against the machine.
Rage against the machine.
Don't do it.
I think I need to go hunting or
It's
something.
kind of like the what was the isn't it ironic that was a good 2 minutes of waste of your life. It's okay. It's okay not to like something. That's okay also.
I still get over the fact. I can't get over the fact that last weekend my son-in-law and my grandson were deer hunting, and they were very successful at their hunt. And all I got out of it was pictures.
Oh, no sausage, no nothing, no.
No, they'll. But the pictures are nice. The pictures are really nice. They shared them on Facebook and everything.
The season's early. I mean, it's,
Well, they hunted over in Texas.
Oh, is that where they spread the feed out and they wait till the deer come in?
No.
That's horrible.
No.
That is bad.
I have participated in those kind of hunts.
I think there needs to be a little more sport to it.
You know,
We could talk about hunting.
Now with my
Because
brother,
that's going to make some people mad.
well,
It does make people mad. But
I've gone on those hunts down with my older brother, and matter of fact, my son-in-law. We all went down to Texas in this ranch down in Laredo, Texas, and my brother came back one morning, and he shot this deer that the rack went on. It looked like a tree, and I was looking. I said, "How did Preston shoot that?" Because Preston's not a rabbit hunter. And then I went to that particular stand that evening, and I looked down and I could see where apparently they had tied the deer to the deer stand, and it was going around in a circle, and all Preston had to do was shoot like this. And so I was thinking, that's not hunting.
No.
Now, I'm joking. Preston didn't do it that way, but I like to joke with him and say that that's the way it was, because that's not the way it was.
Because I think that's probably illegal.
Well, if it's not, it should be.
It should be.
But it is.
should not
I joked with Preston about that. Even to this day, I still joke with him about that deer. And you could see the scuff marks in the dirt where the deer was going around in a circle.
That's too funny.
And Preston couldn't even shoot it. It took me 8 shots. But
horrible.
that's a complete joke. It's what you do with an older brother.
That's a horrible sense of humor. That's good. I like that.
He's got a big old deer mounted on the wall of his house. So that's the only way I could get back at him is to kind of make that joke.
I like that. Well, we never went hunting growing up. I went deer hunting one time, and I never saw anything, and I was too bored. So I never went back.
That is one of the true joys of actually deer hunting is you can go and sit in the stand and you can take a nap, and no matter what the time is, and that's one of the joys of deer hunting is
You sleep?
Oh yeah.
I sleep in my bed.
No, you can sleep really great out in that cold weather.
I was talking to somebody about fishing because I like to go fishing, and I can go fishing for a couple of hours and not catch anything or see anything, but I didn't have the same sense of boredom. I wonder what it is. I don't know.
I guess because you're constantly moving.
Yeah.
You're constantly moving.
Yeah, I don't have to just. I think I have a problem with sitting still.
The first time I ever went freshwater fishing, my father and I always went out into the Gulf.
Yeah.
And but I'd never freshwater fished until I started working at the old Capital Bank, and my boss at the time took me out. He was a rabid freshwater fisherman, and we went fishing, and we were doing okay. It was hot. It was summer, and he pulled out a .44 Magnum, the old Clint Eastwood Dirty Harry. And I looked at it. He pulled it out of the holster. It took 30 minutes for it to come out of the holster. The barrel's so long, and he starts firing his weapon at Cypress knees, and he's a great shot.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him with this .44 Magnum just bust everything. And I said, Chris, you have got to let me try that. I'd never shot a .44 Magnum before. I'd only seen it on the movie.
Yeah.
And so he says, Kip, let me load it for you. I said, okay, sure. I am naive to Chris's ways at this moment. And so he
Did you say, hey, I was in the Navy? And he was like,
he loads the .44 Magnum up for me, and I stand up and I aim at a cypress knee, and I let go of the trigger, and I did not know that he had surreptitiously loaded his .44 Magnum with hot loads. Is a lot more gunpowder than it was supposed to have in the.
Okay.
And I fired one round. I instantaneously went deaf.
Oh wow!
And then he had to almost surgically remove the weapon from my face. When it came into my face, I sat down and I looked at him and I said, when I finally regained my
Yeah.
hearing,
He's just-
and he's busting out laughing. He just thought it was
just-
hilarious. And I thought, I never let him load another weapon for me ever again.
Yeah.
But that was my experience with the 44, first experience with the 44 Magnum.
Never shot one of those.
Oh, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Have we killed the people with our show today?
Yeah. Yeah. It's time.
Oh,
We'll
well,
do it again next week.
I hope that if there's any one thing that anyone can take away from today, I'm hoping it is the new political strategy. Sasquatching.
Sasquatch.
The new political strategy for the 21st century.
Yeah.
Sasquatching. Might see him,
Yeah.
might not.
Yeah.
Might hear him, might not. And I think that could work.
You gotta have, for that to work, you gotta have
A bad candidate.
bad candidate, but you gotta have multiple news networks that are pumping you up. You gotta have what they call it. They call it in the music world is a hype man. You gotta have multiple hype men. People hyping you up. Like every time you hear that name, and they're just like, oh man, he's great. That guy's great.
That guy was good.
Great. He's really. Have you seen this guy? He's so good. And then it doesn't even have to be true.
Well,
You need a hype guy.
Well,
hype man, hype woman can be fine.
He could
You
be a hype.
woman.
Yeah,
You could be a hype half woman.
and Sasquatching can be female, male. There's no gender preference
Yeah.
in Sasquatching.
They're like chickens.
Because you got them. I'm sure they have female Sasquatchings.
Chickens off. No, yeah,
You have chickens and roosters.
never mind.
And but anyway, you can have a reporter saying there was a reported Sasquatching sighting of Joe Biden,
Yeah.
and see people would say, "Oh yeah, I know about that."
Or yeah, well, she'd have to say, and he was amazing.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
it was unbelievable.
It was
I almost shot at him.
remember the guy that got the thrills up his leg? That was a good one.
Yeah, what was that guy's name?
know.
He was on CNN. And,
That was weird too.
uh,
I'm just thinking, I don't like all this stuff. I don't like elections. I don't like the news. Anyway,
Well,
before we get into something else, let's do it next week.
in our 230 years of being a country, there's only been a few periods of time where the nation really has been totally unified on a certain thing.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor was one of those days. September 11th was one of those days.
Yeah.
It's really kind of hard to even think of any period in the 1800s that someone might consider a completely unified period.
Yeah.
Heck, even President Lincoln only won the presidency with 40% of the vote. So
we've always kind of been at each other's throats.
so
It makes me feel better.
it's a political
for
thing
a
that
sad reason.
it's always been the give and the take and the give and the take and sometimes the best government, well, the best government is no government, but
Yeah.
in the world that we live in today, the best government would be a slow government. You don't want the House and the Senate and the President all in one house, all Republican or all Democrat. If you have some balance, it kind of keeps things from happening that
Yeah.
might be too one-sided.
Yeah, well,
So
the
that's
nation's
important.
obviously divided, so.
Obviously divided. Are we going to do a Thanksgiving show next week? Are you going to be out of town?
Monday? Yes, why not? Turkey Day.
Okay, all
We'll
right.
do one.
We'll do a Thanksgiving special.
Yeah.
We'll do something. We'll talk
Yeah.
about the Pilgrims or something.
We're like the post office.
We will.
Rain, sleep, or snow.
We're here.
Sleep or sleep.
That I.
Or Thanksgiving.
it-
Is Thanksgiving on that? Yeah.
Thanksgiving's on Thursday.
I know that. My wife's birthday is coming up.
Oh,
Okay.
I hope you get us
All
something.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Had fun. Hope you did too.